Today we want to talk a little bit about productivity and what that means for you. Now, productivity, a lot of people think that means you have to be entirely digital. Everything has to be online, everything has to be in a device. Not true. So productivity means finding the process and the resources that make your life most efficient. And sometimes that can be a paper calendar, sometimes that can be an app on your phone or on your iPad or on your computer. I want to cover a few of the resources to help make best solutions for you. So we're going to dive right in. So I want to stop first at Google Calendar. Now, this may be something you're familiar with, but there's a lot of cool hidden features within Google Calendar that you can use. So first off, let's take a look here. You can see this is my everyday week. I keep everything in my calendar. If I didn't, I probably wouldn't show up to events, just how I am. I have to have reminders, I have to have notifications in there. Now you'll notice some of my events on here are different colors. That's because Google has the ability to make what's called calendars or categories of different calendars. So if I look over here, you can see I have a bunch of different colors, different categories, and you can turn on and off calendars that you want to see and hide. I'm going to create a brand new calendar, and let's say I want to make one for events that I'm attending. So I'm just going to type in here of events. You can even add a description. You can share it with other people. Now you're not stuck with just using it for your own personal use. Maybe you're working with a team and you need to be able to be on the same page as far as your calendars go. You can share this. Or maybe I'm doing events and I want people to be able to see what events are coming up. They can each subscribe to that calendar. So I'm going to share this calendar, and I have two options where I can either share it with everybody at Springfield College or whatever organization that you're in. And the other way is to make it public, which means anybody and everybody who knows the name of it can find that calendar. Now you can also share with specific people right down here. So if I know I have 3 or 4 team members on my team, I'll put their email addresses in there and they'll get notifications that they now have the ability to see that calendar. And you can even add different privileges for that person. So one of them is see event details. They can even see just free and busy blocks. If you don't want them to see that embarrassing doctor's appointment that you have coming up, you can have them just see blocks of free and busy. You can have somebody who's in the calendar make changes to events. So if you add something in, maybe they can add the location. They can change the time of it. They can add invitees. The next part of that is pretty much full access. This is really good if you have an admin assistant. They can make changes and manage the sharing, meaning they can add other people to see that calendar. Works really well for vacation calendars. Hit create calendar and you'll see right over here, my events calendar will pop up. There it goes, there's events right here. Now you'll notice it's green and so are my iEngage workshops. So if I click on here, on the little arrow next to the events calendar now, I can change its color. So maybe I want to make my events purple. If I add something into my calendar, let's say at 1 o'clock next Monday, it's going to ask me what calendar I want to put it under. It defaults to your general, and you may have your name under there. It may be something else. If I go down here to events, that means it's putting it on that calendar. So you can have different sharing permissions per each calendar. You don't have to have everything in one calendar. So I'm just going to call this one Great Event and hit create. And you can see it adds right in there, it's purple. Let's say I don't want to give somebody access to the whole calendar. I just want to give them access to that one event. I want to share that event with them. I do this a lot for appointments. So if somebody books an appointment with me, I need to know where I'm going, but I also want them to know where they're going if things change. That way I'm not having to send out an email every time a tiny detail changes. So I'm going to double click on Great Event here. You can see these are my individual event details just for that day. I can add location, I can add a description, but I can also add guests. These are people that you're inviting to that event. And just type in iEngage because I'm inviting iEngage to my event. And you can see they pop down here. Now you'll be able to see a confirmation of whether or not they're going. It's really useful if you have a big group of maybe 5, 10, 30 people. That way you need to see who's RSVP'd. They're going to get an email that says, yes, no, maybe. Here's the event details. And when they click on that, you instantly get either a check mark or prohibitory sign. You can also give guests the ability to modify. So maybe it's just the two of you and you need to coordinate what days, what times things go through. I can give them the ability to modify that. My favorite feature of all is the ability to email guests. So instead of having to look at who's yes, who's no, who's maybe, I click on email guests and it will give you awaiting response. If I have people have said yes, it'll say yes. If I have people say no, it'll say no up there. And I can send to specific groups. So maybe I just want to send to no and awaiting response, asking for more details of why they're not coming or if there's another preferred day and time. Or maybe I want to send it all to yes. That way I can see who's confirmed. You can add a message in here, subject, and even send a copy to yourself. So you don't have to go into your Gmail and send it individually. It's attached right inside your calendar. Really, really useful. So you can see I can also change the event color if I need to. So we're talking about productivity, how to make yourself more efficient, how to make yourself show up on time to things. So if you're always that person that's coming into a meeting 10 minutes late, notifications might help you as well. So you can set a notification for 10 minutes, you can set it for days, you can even set it for weeks ahead of time. So if you're trying to manage due dates, let's say I know I have a project due in 2 weeks, I can set one for 2 weeks out, remind me saying, hey, maybe you should start that project. And maybe another one a week later saying, all right, you really should start that project. And maybe 124 hours ahead saying, all right, it's time to stop procrastinating. You really need to start that project. So you can add as many notifications as you want. You can see I just clicked add notification right down here. I have my event in there. Let's go ahead. I'm going to click save. It's going to send that invitation to my guest. Now notice it does not send the invitation to my guest until I hit save. And now I have an event. And you can see it has a notification because there's a clock there. It's shared with somebody because I have a little person right there. That's how we know my event's in the calendar. And if I move or change that event for any reason, it'll ask me if I want to update my guest. So I can send that. And there it goes. So iEngage will get an email saying she's changed to 2 p.m. If I'm coordinating with multiple people, I might want to see their calendar. So if I go down here to where it says other calendars, these are calendars of other people in the institution. So I can add somebody's calendar in. So I'm going to type in iEngage as an example here. And you can see iEngage has an event that's busy because I just invited them. What's nice is you can see their calendar if they have set that permission for you. So you remember how we went back in the calendar and said public, private, or everybody at Springfield College can see free, busy, or details? That's what you're seeing here. So if I set mine public and I let them see every detail, it won't just say busy, it'll tell them what the event is, what the details are. So I use this for the workshop calendars with the iEngage one. Anybody can subscribe to it, see when the events are, see where they're held. But when it comes to other events, just busy. This is really good for scheduling meetings with multiple people because I can type in multiple calendars here, check mark them off, and I can look for the white space. And I can go, all right, everybody has 1 hour this week, that's where the meeting is going to be.